today what we're going to do is Eric's going to teach us how he did 20,000 last week over the phone, selling telemarketing callback leads. So what I want to do is by the end of this video, I want everybody here to understand that you can do it too. Understand, hey, what do you have to follow strategy wise? What skill sets do you have to implement? Do you have to get better at? What scripts do you want to use? What type of leads do you want to call? How do you want to handle rebuttals? And then what type of effort do you have to apply? All right. So, Eric, first question here. What do you feel is the most important part of selling final expense over the phone that you have to nail down? Like above, assuming the effort is there and you're working every day, like what part of the process you got to nail?
I would say the script and overcoming objections, right? Like as soon as most, you got to put yourself in the shoes of the seniors on the phone, right? Like they're getting nailed every single day at all hours of the day for the same type of calls. So they're automatically like, I like to think of it as like they're pretty much in a sleep mode, right? Where they're their guard is up and they're automatically going to say what they would be saying if I came in and I was like, hey Justin, like just tell me you're not interested, and then I have to get past a few not interesteds in order for you to wake up. So like they're in that defense mode like automatically. So you gotta be like you gotta understand that they're going to throw you an objection, and if they don't, it's weird. So
Yeah.
so like and we gotta be prepared too. Like and that comes with just role playing, repetition, and knowing what to say. But you should be expecting them to say, I'm not interested, or I already have insurance. And as long as you get past those objections and you go through the rest of the presentation, then man, like you're going to close at a really high percentage. It's just like getting past that point. And I think that's where a lot of people give up in sales in general, right? Is they believe the objection, which is never real,
Yeah.
especially if it's early in the process. It's just never real. So if you can get over that, then you're going to, I mean, like I was telling you earlier, 80% of that 20,000 was just from people giving me objections. As soon as they answer the phone, like, hey, this is Eric. Yeah, I was getting back to you about, I know you spoke to one of our company representatives about the state-approved final expense burial programs. Oh, I'm not interested. Every single time. Oh, I understand. I already have insurance. And then, I get past.
So how do you handle that?
Yeah,
Let's role play that right here for people. So Eric, I already have
absolutely.
insurance.
Most people do that I speak with. They just find this information really valuable. So it looks like you mentioned your son was going to be the beneficiary. Yeah.
Perfect. So right on to the right. Perfect. Love it. And I'm not Eric. Yeah, I'm
I
not
understand.
interested.
Yeah, my job is just to get you the information as quick as possible, and then you can choose whatever you want to do with it. So it looks like that you mentioned your daughter was going to be the beneficiary. Is that right?
Perfect. Love it. Good stuff. So it's that simple. And I think what happens too, especially like new agents, if you're not used to the rejection and you don't know the psychology behind it, it can be like, oh my God, like someone's telling me no, or they already have
Mm-hmm.
insurance, but like you said, don't believe what they say, because look, life insurance, you can get more than one policy. Most of our clients don't even know what they have.
Right.
So, and they lie.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, hey, they just don't want you calling them anymore. They're like, dude, I'm done with the
Another
phone
thing too
calls.
is tone is really important. So like if you're not
Yes.
prepared and somebody says I'm not interested, you might be like, oh no, and you might sound like a little bit too
Yeah.
overexcited because you're coming across as, oh my God, I'm gonna let them go and I'm not gonna get the sale, I'm not gonna make the money. But if you just act like, not like too excited but not like too sluggish, kind of like a medium, like, oh, I understand. Like, most people aren't. It's just my job to get you the information, and you're just like calm, cool, and collective. They're like, oh wow, okay. And now they think of you as this person's actually a help person, not a salesperson.
I love that. That's huge. And I love, like, I put a call out the other day on
Hmm.
this channel. Check out my video for live final expense telesales calls. Anybody watching this, you'll see it. I'll post it in the description. I'll put it in the end cards at the end of the video. You'll be able to click and watch it. So one of the calls, the lady's like, I already had insurance, and I was like, hey, it's all good. Most people I speak with do. So it's so tone, and I didn't say anything different that maybe someone else would have said and not be able to get through. But you're right. Tone is like that's Belfort talks about it, like the subconscious rapport, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you gotta. If you're not prepared, they can tell. They can tell if you're trying to be a salesperson
Yeah.
or if you're actually just like trying to help them out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I take an attitude of like I don't care if they buy.
Oh, dude.
Like in
Yeah,
the
and if
beginning.
you have that attitude, then you're gonna sell more people because like
Yeah.
and it's like tough for some people to get in that mindset, right? Because we all want to win, we
Yeah.
all want to make the sale, but the more you chase after something, the typically the further it runs. So if you just like act kind of passive and like you're just trying to literally do your job and like just put yourself in the shoes of like pretend like you're just a customer service representative getting paid hourly to do this, then like,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude, you're gonna, you're not gonna come across as desperate. That's what it is. It's the difference between desperation and just like trying to help.
For sure. For sure. Perfect. So we got sticking to the script. Number one, stick to the script. Handle the rebuttals that are just in my rebuttals page I have. You guys can check out the description. I have the rebuttals page in there while it's still free. And I got and then the right tone, right? Using the right tonality. I mean, it's um, that's it. So cool. Script, tone, sweet. And now, what did you do? Like I know last week, you at the beginning of this last week, you were like, you hit me with some big goals, or like a little bit before that, you were like, dude, I got these massive goals I want to hit. How did you come into the week? What did you do Sunday night to prep for the monster week ahead? And then how did you hit the ground running Monday morning? Because some people are like, kind of need to know how to get that
Yeah, for
start.
sure. I mean, goals and targets is something we always have to have our mind on. The more we focus on something, the closer we are going to pull it towards us. So, you always gotta, don't like wait till Monday morning to figure out what am I going to do this week. That should be figured out every single Sunday, and you gotta look at it as not just like, oh, I'm going to make calls. It's just like, okay, I look at my pipeline. Like I organize everything in an Excel spreadsheet, and I look at, okay, who's on the goal line, because that's who I'm going to call first. I want my morning to start off strong. I want as much momentum as possible.
Yeah.
How am I going to do that? Well, who did I leave on the goal line last week that I just couldn't convert? And I'm going to hit all those people. I'm going to hit them with maniac level follow up because I need to help them out, and we need to be having that mindset. Like, dude,
Yeah,
you do not do them a service until you close. These people all need it.
exactly.
So having that mindset and then just like locking yourself in with that linear focus to that target and knowing that like in order for me to hit this target, I need to be taking this level of action and I need to hit
Yep.
this, this hour by noon, by 5, by whenever you work until, have that like lock your focus in on what needs to happen, and it starts Sunday, like you said.
Yeah. Sweet, man. 100%. That's awesome. Um, cool. So where you say with the goal line thing, I remember when I started selling on the phone, I just had a notepad and I would have a list of names that were really close. Like people were like they wanted it, but they were like I didn't even know they were at like the grocery store and didn't have their checkbook on them and they're like I need this and like where it's just like that like the bank info or something
Oh
super
yeah.
small that you need. That's what you mean by goal
Yeah,
line,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. Or just somebody who
Cool.
expressed a lot of interest. I mean, you can tell like how serious
Yeah.
someone is based on
Yeah.
their tone,
Their
right?
tone.
And they said, "Oh, call me,
Yeah.
call me Saturday at 3, or call me Friday at 3," and then they no-showed you, and you follow it up with them, multiple times, and they still keep no-showing you, and you know that if you
Yep.
get in touch with them, that they're going to convert.
Do you text them?
No, I don't text them too much unless I convert them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Uh, I mean, I don't know
Awesome.
what kind of
Sweet.
lead. Like, I'm only working the TM leads, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
with
Legally, you don't
social
want to.
media leads, absolutely. I'm shooting them a text. I'm shooting them a video. I'm definitely getting in touch with them. But a lot of the TMs are house phones.
Cool. Yeah.
Like the
Yeah. Yeah.
majority
It
of them,
is.
actually. So it's hard for me to-
Yeah. A lot of my
yeah.
house phones.
So, but highly recommend texting or sending video messages if you can.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then there's this app. It's called Vidyard. It's really cool. So Vidyard is an app where you can record a video, and it gives you a link that you send the customer a link, and it pops up as a preview for the video. But you can send like a 1.5 minute video without having to send a huge file. So just a cool thing there. So what do you do when you get to now? Okay, this is assuming we're taking these people here who are listening in through a whole telesales presentation because telesales is something that stumps people. For me, I don't know. My first day on the phone, I made like 3 sales, like 2.5 years ago. But Eric, what happened was we've been in sales. We did the door to door thing in other markets. we've sold other things. So it was just like boom, boom. Like we kind of knew the deal. Right now, someone who's new, assuming that they stick to the script, they handle that little bit of an objection in the beginning that's just fear based, and now they're on. This is the next thing I hear agents run into. What do you do when someone actually has another policy? How do you handle that?
Well, great question. So I find out what kind of policy they have, right? I ask them how much they're paying a month. First thing, I always act super enthusiastic. That is really important. When
Yeah.
somebody says, "Oh, I already have coverage," I imagine a lot of people say, "Oh," like kind of come across as, "Oh, I missed it," right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, congratulations! Like you are so responsible."
I do too. I get so
Yeah,
pumped
I'm
for
like,
it.
wow. Most people don't like make them feel good. Pump them up. Congratulations. How much coverage you already have? Oh, I already have 5,000. Okay, great. And what's your monthly payment on that? Oh, it's so and so. Oh, wow. How'd you get that so low? Just ask them questions that are gonna pump them up, make them feel good, and will allow them to tell you more. That's what we want them to do is tell us more. And most of the time, dude, like
Yeah.
the only time I'm not selling somebody that already has a policy is if they bought a whole life policy when they were 35 years old for, it was $100,000 worth of coverage and they were 35 or 30, whatever it was, so they got it for like $70 a month. Like if somebody has that much coverage and their why is just to leave enough money behind for a funeral, then dude, you're probably not going to sell them, right? But that's like far and few between. I found most people, they got a policy recently and they just want to, number one, add on more coverage. Number two, they want to compare. And most
Yeah.
of the time, it's just like, dude, like a lot of these people, they buy, like they want more coverage. Like,
Yeah.
they were at a tough
Exactly.
point in their life where they were like, oh, well, I want something because something is better than nothing. And then in the future, I'm
Yep.
going to get more coverage. That agent never followed up with them past the sale. And then
Exactly.
they opted in again and boom, there you are. Okay, you wanted this much. And you find that by asking questions. You just have to ask the question. If you
Yep.
don't ask the question, you're never going to know why that they need more insurance. And you just help them.
Exactly. Huge. Awesome. So yeah, so like what he's saying here, guys, is that in any of the scripts you use, there's going to be questions that aren't going to be on the script that you're going to have to ask. And it just comes from trying to figure out what they want it for. It's like what you got to do. You got to put yourself in this situation as when you were a kid and you wanted a candy bar. Your parents said no, and you're trying to say, but why? Why no? Why no? Why no? Right? It's like, why do you want the policy? What's this going to do for you? Really hone in on that pain point. And Eric brought up a great thing there. It makes so much sense. So a lot of times, a new agent, you get someone on the line, or even an experienced agent who's just getting, convinced at this point that people actually have something that they don't want to add anything more. Um, okay, I had to adjust my audio. So number one, the agent who sold them the policy a couple years ago probably isn't working anymore in the industry. Odds are, right? Second thing is that the second money is always easier than the first money. So whatever policy that agent sold them originally was not outside their budget. If a final expense client gets a policy outside their budget, they're going to cancel it. So if they've had it for a while, chances are that was less than what they knew they could pay, right? Like it was like a little bit less. Like if someone's like, I think I do 100, but I'm safe with like
Mhm.
75, then you call them and they have that, then you can add on to it. So he brought up a great point there where it's like when they got that policy, I promise, when it's like you ever go on a vacation and you don't get like the nice spot, you get the one under it, and then you get there, you're like, crap, I wish I just like paid the extra
Yeah.
few bucks to get the suite, right? And then same thing with our clients. They probably get 20,000. They're like, oh dang, I wish I got 30, but whatever. So cool. I didn't even think about that really, but it's cool, man. So, do you ever do policy reviews with the carrier? Have you done that at all, or if you call the carrier, or they?
Yeah, a few times, like if the client doesn't know what they have, then I'll absolutely call the carrier with them, figure out what it is that they
Cool.
have, make sure that they have, the right policy. Another thing too is like ask them. I like to ask them what they're paying for monthly. Because if they're like, oh yeah, I have $100,000 worth of coverage, and you're like, oh, that's awesome. What's the monthly payment? Oh, it's $20, and I got it, 5 years ago, and they're 65. It's a term policy or an accidental policy, and they don't know that. So it's like uncovering what they have without being direct. Like you're uncovering what they have in an
Yep.
indirect way to then, be like, oh, by the way, like that's great. You should have that. It's a great compliment, but this is like what you should definitely have to make sure that you have like permanent, like definite coverage. Yeah.
For sure. All right, cool, good stuff, man. And then what carriers do you like to use?
Mainly American Amicable. I'll stick with them primarily.
That's what we use too. Very versatile underwriting, easy
Yep.
process.
Super simple, quick app, voice authorization, and
Yep. And then the back end office chats. I don't know if you see if you have
mhm.
that, but sometimes you can go in on their portal. And I love how they have everything so easy. Customer service is great. You call, you're not on hold for like an hour and a half. It's like get something
Yeah,
handled.
man. That's you bring up another good
Cool.
point too. So one thing about AmAm is it's all about the process, right? Like you want to keep it simple and succinct. So if you like with AmAm, they
Yeah.
have a e-app that's so quick and simple. That's like, dude, people a lot of times people don't like get out of a sales situation because it's taking too much time. But if you're just like, okay, bada bing, boom, 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 and you get all the information and you get everything done within 5 minutes, they're like, wow, that level of service is like,
Yep.
it's all,
Speed to service
yeah.
impresses people.
So
It does. Like the those long drawn out interviews and apps and yeah, for sure. Cool. What's like your favorite close to use in the close?
I mean, it really just depends on what they say. The biggest, most frequent objection that everybody gives. You know what I'm going to say too. Oh, I got to talk to my son. I got
I
to
know.
talk to my daughter. And I got
Yeah.
this from you, brother. And if you guys are watching, if you haven't checked out Justin's content on YouTube, man, watch his objection handling video for Final Expense. It is gold. You will easily double, if not triple, your sales. Like just from going through the rebuttals and like following that, dude. Duplicate what people have already done, right? Is
Yeah.
okay. I understand. So back to the point. Let me repeat it. So, oh, I got to talk to my son or my daughter. Oh, I understand. They should be involved in this process. Let me ask you, Justin. Is your son going to be paying for the policy?
I don't know.
So most of the time they say no.
Probably not. No. Yeah,
Okay.
most of them they say
I
no. No.
understand. So they're not going to want to talk to you about dying anyway. So let's go ahead and get this done. Give yourself some peace of mind and do them a solid favor and just get this done. So what's your middle initial?
Awesome. Cool. So you go right into the app
Yeah,
just
I,
like
I
that on
also
there.
say
I
fair
run it
enough
there.
after
That's cool.
like pretty much everything, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it always works.
Fair
It
enough. I
always,
like that too. I love
yeah,
fair
yeah,
enough.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair, sir. Because dude, I'm telling you, I would say like, man, when I say like majority of people use that, I'm talking like 70, 80%, and I use that every single time, and it works every single time. Another one too is like if you're having trouble getting the bank info or the social security number, which I did in the beginning, dude, your rebuttal to that too, it's also gold. Like if they say, "Oh, I don't give my social over the phone," yeah, I don't. I understand. I don't either, but we just need it for the application. So what is it? And most people are like, I would say probably a good portion of them are like, "Yeah, like I said, I don't give it over the phone." I'm like, okay, great. Well, just so you know, insurance companies have some of the most safe databases in the entire world. You rarely hear of an insurance company getting hacked. So again, we just need it for the application. What is it? And like, dude,
Yep.
everybody that works every single time. I think I had two yesterday that said that alone. And like, occasionally you will get somebody that's like, I'm not giving it. Like the other day, I had somebody who was
Yeah.
like, who said it like 10 times, and they were like having a hissy fit, like, I'm not giving it. And I just like, you know, and like, but like, dude, that's like one out of tons of people, So it's like, you like the less of a deal you make it, the less of a deal they make, and then like, okay, fine, and they just give it to you.
It is. It's so yeah. The less of the deal. Another one I like. The less a big deal you make it, the less the deal they make it. And I think with it's huge that you got to that point because like you're saying you're gonna spend time with your mom today. She's probably if someone asks her for her so I mean I was brought up with my dad being like don't give out your social to anyone ever,
Yeah,
and like someone asked my dad for his social, he would like they're not he would like firm no. I mean that's just how we're brought up. So to change our mindset to making the social security number not being a big deal in our head is it takes some effort and for me still and I just say it and I have to you have to use the right tone.
yeah.
That's it too. Like tone's big on those objections because those same objections you're saying if someone doesn't say them with the enthusiasm and the
Hmm.
confidence there, then they may not get the same result.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like what everybody says too. Oh, so and so told me to never give out my social. Yeah, I don't give out my social either, but we just need it for the application. So what is it? Work for
Yeah.
every time.
Oh, I would tell my mom the same thing. We just need it for the application, which is so. What
My
is it
mom
then?
would. I was thinking about that
So okay,
earlier. I was like, my mom would tell me that she would never give that information out over the phone. But I was thinking that I should do like a role play without her even knowing, and I bet you I could get it out of her.
put like a
Yeah.
voiceover, have it be something else. That's funny. So what are your daily targets, bro?
5K a day, 6 days
5K a
a
day.
week,
Cool.
Monday through Saturday. So it's about 7 applications. This week I made 2,912 phone calls, spoke to about 237 people, contacts. So took me 208 phone calls to make one sale. So it's an average of about 2.5 a day. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'd like to. So in the beginning, when I started, I was getting about 20 leads a day. Now I got about
Yep.
some days they send me like some days they send me 50, some days they send me 20. Dude, my pipeline is just so massive now that like it's
Yeah.
they're sending me like 150 to 200 leads a day. That's my daily target though. It's 5K a day, 30K a week, like I was telling you.
Awesome.
So and then just maniac activity. Like you can't hit
Yeah.
that unless you're taking action from like 9 a.m. to 9. Like I take action for like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Not like
Well, you probably eat at your
what's
desk, right?
that?
You probably just eat while you're
Yeah,
working.
most of the time. I mean, I'll take like a little break. Like I like
Yeah.
to ride my scooter down and take a little break. To go to the spot, get
Yeah.
some food. But yeah, for the most part, I'm at my desk like 11 hours a day, just banging the phone. So
Banging the phone. Yeah, that's it. That's that perseverance is huge too, guys. If you're watching this and you're gonna get into telesales, you have to have crazy activity. You don't get into telesales because it's easier than driving around. You get into telesales because you can crank out activity, and you're actually probably a little better at sales to do it over the phone. So if you're transitioning from field sales to telesales, then I would look at it like this. Your time driving from appointment to appointment or house to house is the time when you're sitting there on the phone and
mhm.
it's ringing. So you got to have that same discipline of like, I'm just going to crank through the calls today and how do you stay like, well, first off, what I want to say too, if you had 21 apps and 20,000 AP, you're selling people policies that's really good business, right? So like if you had like 10 apps with 20,000 AP, maybe like, okay, where our clientele isn't in that necessarily that income bracket. So 21 apps, 20,000 AP, you're going to have some good quality on that too, business quality. Um, how do you just keep pushing it? Because if you get hung up on, what do you do to kind of get over it? You just make another call.
Yeah, if they hang up on me, I just make another call. Actually, I've had clients who've hung up on me while I was doing the app, and then I call them back like a few days later, and then they just act like nothing ever happened. I was talking to Ryan about this. So, like, dude, a lot of these people, they don't even know what they're saying half the time, and like they don't mean what they're saying. And sometimes you just catch
Yeah,
them in
yeah,
a really off mood because a lot of our clients know like they're
yeah,
on prescription medications, and like, dude, they might just be having like a terrible day. But if you call them
yeah,
back and they're having a great day, like, dude, they're like I can't tell you how many people act like like completely different people. And
yeah,
I like to call if they hang up on me too, like while I'm in the middle of an app, because that's happened so many times. I will just call them back, and if I get a hold of them, I'll be like, "Hey, Justin, this is Eric. We spoke the other day about the final expense program through the state of Florida. Remember that?" Yeah. So actually, my manager, I know we were speaking. My manager wanted me to personally give you a call back and just see if you still wanted, if this was still important to you. Did you still need the final expense insurance? Like in that sincere tone. And dude, I can't tell you how many times that's worked from people who have hung up on me.
that's huge.
And another thing too is like to add into what you were talking about with follow up. It is true, man. Like the reason why you have to be at your desk, like working and following up for like making that many calls, is because the people who you're in the home with that could, they have all that information. You can just like have them go get it. When you're on the phone, like, sometimes you have to
Yeah,
call them back like 6 times just to get them to answer the phone and to get the information. And sometimes you call them back and they're like, "Oh, I still don't have it." And then literally 2 weeks later, you finally get it. So that's why like
Yeah.
follow up is key because you build that massive pipeline, and then all of those extra people that didn't have their account number, they'll 2 weeks later when you finally get a hold of them, they bought. So
Perfect. Awesome. Cool, man. So what we're gonna do here to end it is what what advice do you offer anybody who is looking to get into final expense telesales, or even, hey, I got people on my team who need little words of wisdom here. So what do you recommend for people looking to crush the week? Some tips and pointers on how they can be successful.
yeah, I think that it starts with your mindset. That's number one. Like if you don't have a positive mindset, you're going to be super discouraged, and like we get what we attract. So like if we don't have the right mindset, we're not going to be taking that much action, and then it's just gonna be a downfall in our production. So number one, have the right mindset, and that starts with preparation. Like you were saying, it starts on Sunday, and then it also starts with like getting around the right people. Like if you're on Justin's team and you feel like you're a little discouraged, then you should probably like dive more into his content. Dive more into Cardone University or whatever you guys use.
Yeah, we have Cardone.
So surround yourself with that, because mindset is ultimately, because if you don't have the right mindset, like you're not gonna sit. I'm not gonna sit at my desk for 12 hours and make calls if I don't have the right mindset. And then number two, like
Exactly.
take maniac level action. And number three, don't get discouraged. Like, cause dude, like disappointments are gonna happen. You're gonna write up three. I had 4 applications in a row yesterday where the people were all out and they didn't have their account number. But I ended up calling. I ended up getting 2 of them. Right when I call them back, they were like, "Call me back later," and 2 of them. Oh, I just got home. Yeah, here it is. Right. But if I was like, "Oh my God," because I've heard agents do that. "Oh my God, why me? Why this? Why that?" When you do that,
Yeah.
you're just gonna automatically revert to like doing nothing, and then your results are gonna show
Yep.
for it. So just never get down, man. Just keep taking action and stay positive. Like if you can stay as positive by 8 p.m. as you were at 9 a.m. when you started the day, then you're gonna have a massive day. And consistency is really what wins. Like it's not gonna happen in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, but it's gonna happen, in weeks and a couple weeks, months, if you're just consistent and you're positive and you're taking action, you're doing the right thing, and you're following the process, especially the process that you laid out for like all your agents or anybody watching this that's trying to get into telesales. Like follow that process because you'll be successful.
Perfect. Awesome, man. Thank you. How long are your presentations too? I think telesales agents should hear this. So how long are you in before you're quoting? You think like
Yeah,
10, 15 minutes?
15.
Perfect. So right to it.
Man.
And I think sometimes people feel compelled to have a conversation sometimes with people to build a relationship. But what I'm going to tell you is that you can add a little humor and tone, and with tone. Like I still build a relationship with people in 10 to 15 minutes. I'm sure you do
Yeah.
the same. Like it's like if they're like, oh yeah, my if someone's like, oh, my wife's my beneficiary, I'm like, oh, how long you been married? They're like, she's like, oh, 32 years. I'm like, man, what's the secret? I can't get my wife to like me for 32
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
And then it's just like corny little things that so you can build rapport and you can get them to like you without having to
Yeah,
take an
a lot of
hour
rapport
talking to
that
them.
I build is just based on like just being succinct, like being simple to the point. Because like if you're simple and you're like to the point, then people want to do business with someone who's busy. But if you just have like
Yeah.
all day to talk, they're like, this person doesn't have anything to do, right? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna listen to them. And then like on top of that, seniors, they don't want to like sit around and BS with you. Like they get so many of these calls. So like, how are you going to differentiate yourself? You're going to be simple and you're going to show them the utmost service. How do you do that? You're quick. You're to the point, and you build rapport by helping them and like figuring out what it is they want, and then you deliver it to them. That's how I do it.
Perfect. Awesome. Love that, brother. So if you want to email Eric, it's edj@ericdejohn.com, ERICDEJOHN. I'll put it down here if you want to email him. Eric is hiring for telesales, and if you'd like to work with Eric, then all you got to do is drop him an email. All right. So if you have any questions for Eric, send him an email. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer if you'd like work with him, or any questions about what he does. By the way, he's working telemarketing callback leads. We found that those are pretty superior for telesales, unless you're getting a social media or online lead that's being answered within like 5 seconds of them filling out that form. Otherwise, the callback leads. Thank you, Eric.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
your time
Justin.
today, man.
Appreciate you, brother.